are live. Um, I'm back home after a few days at the Royal Tour. It's been very hectic. I really don't know how the Royals do this. I really don't. It's astonishing. This is their job, is to go around shaking hands non-stop, non-stop. So I'm very impressed. Uh, Now, where to start? Yesterday at the Sydney Opera House, I was there quite early. I was there well before 10, and we were not going to see the King until 4:20. And it was astonishing for anyone who knows Sydney. Those lines, those queues, they went all along the Opera House foreshore, all along the quay past the entrances into Aspie. Aspie. Oh, hi, gorgeous. I actually have to share my thoughts. I'm absolutely just quite overwhelmed with the Royal Tour, and I just feel deeply emotional by it on a number of levels. First of all, for the King, oh, you would just be a curmudgeon if you couldn't respect what he has done because he is ill. You know, the man is ill. He's paused his cancer treatment. They're not young. And the Australian heat is difficult. I'm glowing because I was in the sun and my skin, I've got Irish skin, and they they don't look well. You know, I just want to be a little reserved. They don't look very well at all. But that's why I'm so in awe of him. This is someone who didn't like the King. I, I didn't for many, many years. I was satisfied with the Queen, but he was too political for my taste. And this is from someone who worked in government, as you well know. But I believe he's really shown his straps in since his coronation. I think he's done a fantastic job. I forgot Australia is the opposite season to the USA. Yes, yes. We're on the southern hemisphere. You're on the northern hemisphere. You're on the same as the UK. So and you're on the harbour there, so you're getting the glare off the water. But I kid you, Aspie, I'm not overstating this. That's why I had to do a live. I couldn't do them on the ground. I was because you're around people and they interrupt, and not necessarily with content producing conversation, but it was crazy. I'm telling you, I've never experienced anything like this. I'm an introvert. I really pushed myself to do this. You guys over there on Francis Page Media, I'm going to get to him in a minute because someone recognized me and because she follows Francis Page Media's page. You know, so I'll get to that in a minute. We'll stick with the King. So they're shaking hands. I shook Camilla's hand yesterday. She is so pretty. The photos don't do her justice. Up close, she is really pretty, and I was taken back by that. I'm telling you, I looked at some good photos of her portraits. They're lovely, but they're portraits, right? In the flesh, she's very pretty, and she doesn't look her years, and she's a lot more slight in her face and her features than we see in the photos. But let me get back to the Opera House. They had over 25,000 stream in to that Opera House. Now, I was there. Oh, now I'm getting really comfortable. Francis. Oh, we're talking about the King. I mentioned you a moment ago, but let me get back to you in a minute, young man. But those crowds. Now, I don't know if you've been to Australia, Aspie, but the Opera House area I was there before 10 and the king came down at 4:20. We were right at the bottom of those steps. I was with two young people and they were my angels. They were heaven sent. They were just fantastic. They said, "Don't worry. We're going to run. As soon as we get through these gates, we are going to run and we're going to save you a spot." And Annabelle did, because I saw someone trying to move in next to her and she had to physically remove her. She said, "This spot is for our friend. You cannot stand here. Go away." And then the little, because she was a short, like, pudgy little thing. She's quite cute. She said, "But I'm really tiny. I can't see." She said, "I'm sorry, but we have this spot for our friend. You'll have to stand behind her." And those crowds, they were pushing us forward on that barrier because we were on the barrier. And it was I felt quite threatened. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. But let me get back to the crowds because this is important. They wove all the way along the foreshore, around the quay, which is where all the entrances are to the ferries, and then down to the rocks. Like, this is considerable. If you go and have a look at a map, you'll know what I mean. All the way up to the rocks and down there, and it was like that all day. Now, one of the crowd controller, she was actually quite helpful. She was really sweet, but she was not a monarchist. You could just tell, right? The energy. And she was shaking her head because she was up higher than us. So she could see all the way down. And she was shaking her head. She said, "Oh, we didn't expect anything." She said this. She said, "Oh, we knew we were going to get crowds, but nothing like this." Then they kept coming in, and people are, behind us, pushing us. They had to come and fortify our barrier. The crowd was that. And I'm like this, and I don't like crowds. It's Francis's channel is responsible. I told you, you've created a monster, Francis. Now, talking about Francis, we've already had this conversation, so he knows what's coming. So while we're waiting, the peasants are waiting in our pen. We were literally penned in, but we were still at the front door. And so I'm chatting with my young pals, and we've just seen the crowds on the news. They were enormous. When you look at the aerial views, I'm gobsmacked. So anyway, I'm, in conversation with my young friends, and you will have seen this guy because he's been all over the news in his British jacket. And another Annabelle this girl's got form. I wouldn't want to get into any stoush with this girl. So we're chatting, passing the time. This woman comes up to me, really pretty woman. Her name is Danny. I'll stick with the conversation. Bear with me, girls. Anyway, and boys. And she said, "Are you Catherine?" And I thought, "Oh my God, she's seen me on TV." I'm thinking, this is my speech. She's seen me because I did a few interviews from the church. And I said, "Yes, why? How do I know you?" And she goes, "Oh, I follow Francis Page Media's channel." And she said, "I follow your lives." She said, "He's fantastic." I went, "No way." And she goes, "Yeah, way." I said, "No." And she said, "I love it." She said, "I just love Francis." And she said, "Those lives," and this is what she said to me. She said, "I really like the restraint. Neither one of you speak directly, but you're not angry. You're not going in hardcore, even with the Harkles, and I'll get to them as well." And she said, "It's just lovely. It's just a conversation exploring the issues." So I'm standing there gobsmacked, And this other woman is walking past us because we're Frances Page. We were talking for quite a while. Frances Page, Frances Page. So she heard us and she goes, "Oh, I follow that channel." And we just went, so guess what? You know who I am now? I am the syndicated office of Frances Page Media in Australia. And don't you dare, Frances. We know you won't anyway. You're so loyal. Don't you dare allow anyone to muscle in on me. This is your syndicated Frances Page Media from Sydney, Australia. What are the chances? What are the chances? I kid you not. I kid you not. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Oh, I'm on a bit of a high. I'm sunburned, just as well I wore my hat. I'm as sunburned as all out, but I'm glad I did it because I needed to do this. You girls and boys, you really pushed me and, get your elbow pads out. I didn't need to. God sent me two angels, two young angels who really like me. I don't know why. I'm just an old granny, And we're keeping in touch. We've already been on text and the phone since yesterday. And I don't know, the king and the queen, getting back to them. Camilla is just so pretty, but she doesn't look well. They're elderly. They're an elderly monarch. I doubt we will see them back in Australia. Thanks for being such a great ambassador of Frances Page Media. And all thanks to our A-team. Well, they were, because I tried to do a few lives and I could see, I think Chantal and Stedman tried to tune in. And, but I'm not good at it I'll get used to it, with your encouragement. I'll get used to it, but it's not easy because you need to be aware situationally and also then you're creating content. But getting back to Sunday was my day. I loved it. And that's where I got those 5 close-ups of the king. And he actually put his hand up to me because he could see that, we were second behind on Sunday. My friend Linton in the British flag jacket, he shook his hand. He was trembling afterward. It was a dream for him. But Sunday was wonderful. It was, I think they kicked off well with a church service. And the crowd were not locals. Most of them, they were over 1,000, and we're talking about a small church. It was sizable for a suburban church, but it was not in the stature of a cathedral. It was over 1,000 people. They had a fabulous afternoon tea they put on in the hall. They had a large hall. But when they came out, everyone breaks out into hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray. They were just the people on Sunday, because I was closer up, I didn't feel so overwhelmed as like at the Opera House. They embraced him. They absolutely embraced him. Now, the Republican movement, it's dead in Australia. It really is. They had a turnout, I believe, yesterday. It may have been the day before, but there was a turnout, less than 20 people. I kid you not, they flatlined. Then yesterday, they had the decolonizers that were there at the church. They turned up yesterday and they're yelling and screaming and I don't know why, but the police arrested him. So, because they're not allowed to arrest protesters. It's in Britain, they can calm them down and they can remove them. I noticed that up in a march in Scotland, but not in. You can't arrest protesters in Australia, especially Indigenous protesters. So they bundled him away in a paddy wagon. But when he was yelling at us, and he's spitting, I mean, look, a lot of Australians don't have an issue with their issues, but we don't like being yelled at. But we're all getting our flags, our flags. and our British flags. I had my British flag, and and I had my Queen bag. I had this made. It was made for me, and everyone was just laughing. It's like, what's your point? We don't know. We get it. But, we'd rather sit down and have a beer with you than do it this way. So that's basically the bottom line. And the issue with the senator who just lost herself in her rant, she's really lost a lot of ground with Australians, but it's no way to deliver your message. Australians are pretty laid back. Oh, yesterday everyone's going, oh, Camilla, Charles, come over here. And I yell out, Your Majesty, I did this. Don't tell anyone, just between you and I, okay? But I yelled, don't tell my kids. I yelled out, Your Majesty, Your Majesty. And he heard that and he came over. Oh, I didn't get to shake his hand. I shook Camilla's. Can you believe I did that? But that's because I saw Francis yelling out at Catherine in the coach, Catherine, Catherine. And he wasn't yelling at me. He's yelling at the Princess of Wales, So I thought I'd try it. Your Majesty, Your Majesty. Oh, my kids would be mortified. On that subject, they're not impressed because my eldest son, and he is a bit of a king in our family because he's just at the top of his game in his field, but he's in the arts, right? And the arts are so wack. He heard from a friend, he would have been mortified that his mother was on live feed on the morning show on Sunday, and he was not impressed. Because I've got my flags. He's not a monarchist. The other boy is, but he keeps quiet. I don't. And I'm standing in front of the colonisers with my flags. So he's mortified. He's thinking, oh, my God, it's either a friend or a colleague has seen his mum on TV. So please explain. That's how he feels. So I did send a text last night in response to a message, and I said, I shook Camilla's hand today, and I just put in brackets, sorry. And he just giggled, he's calmed down. So that's basically the really, really short version. I didn't want to do a long live. I don't have the capacity to do it on my own, and I want to save a lot of it for a conversation with Francis. Francis Page Media, stop it. Don't stop it. You're a star, absolute star. A woman walking behind Danny goes, oh, yeah, I follow that channel. So I'm going to say cheerio there because, as I said, I want to save some stuff for conversation. Oh, no sympathy. Oh, no, there was one woman, a young woman, but overall, no one likes Harry and Meghan. They're very disappointed. And I'll leave that there for another conversation. So, my darlings, thank you. Ask me, Francis. I hoped you'd see me, Francis, because I actually did this for you to say, look, you can see, like, what time is it here in the morning? It's 6 a.m. I'm still as high as a kite. And it's not grog. I haven't been drinking. But it's just the sun. I've broken the barrier. Now I know I can do it in the UK next year in that trip because I had reservations if I was going to be able to do that. But no, I can do it now. And it's with the absolute encouragement and from Francis and his A team. Oh my God, we've done it. We've been there and we've got the T-shirt. So I'm going to say ciao for now, Bella. Mwah, mwah. And I'll talk to you all very soon. Love you, love you, love you. Bye.